Sound production.
Hello, salutations. What it do is Stop the Gamer, all father, the Do-Rag Gang. You know the vibes, like and subscribe. Let's get it. Good morning. How's everyone doing on this fine Saturday? Who's that? Sal Dap? What's up? What's up, Flanacino? What's up, Boda69? What's going on, Lone Wolf? Good to see you. Morning, Eric Gamings. Make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. What's going on, Zacer Gaming? Good luck on that Iron Man build. Been finalizing my raid Iron Man build myself. Going on, Malazar? Something I know, something I nothing. What it do? Smash that like button. Also, shout out to today's sponsor, Fan Dominion. You want some awesome merch? Demon Slayer, Dragon Ball, DC, Marvel, they got everything. Check them out. Links are in the description. Use code SADAT for 10% off your order. Another way that you can support the channel. So this is my second super news. Just going live, talking about some of the latest news and rumors from the world of superhero gaming. You guys seem to enjoy last Saturday, so here we are once again. I was up already, so might as well do some work. It's 5 p.m. in your country. Yeah, it is not 5 p.m. here. And if I feel it, I feel it. All right, so we're going to talk about the latest rumors from this new Marvel game from Amy Hennig. We're going to recap the dev stream for those that missed it and all that sweet, sweet Spider-Man goodness. But first, let's get into this Amy Hennig story, because this was definitely very interesting. So for those that don't know, Skydance Media announced a little while ago that they're joining forces with Marvel. They're going to make an untitled Marvel game. It's going to be a AAA blockbuster a AAA blockbuster action adventure game. And they've got Uncharted's Amy Hennig attached to it already. She started this in 2019. There have been rumors about exactly what the game is going to actually be. There was a leak on 4chan suggesting that it was going to be Daredevil, but we got some latest info that seems to have narrowed it down to pretty much most likely Ant-Man or Fantastic Four. So as we'll go through the article, new evidence suggests that either Ant-Man or the Fantastic Four rests at the center of the unnamed Marvel game from Amy Hennig's team at Skydance New Media. Skydance announced their project last week, promising to deliver a narrative-driven action adventure complete with an original tale. Since Uncharted creator Amy Hennig is helming Skydance's newly formed development crew, the internet quickly went about narrowing down the types of characters that fits her storytelling, yada yada. We went over that before. Here's the latest. So on November 2nd episode of Batman Beyond, which is an excellent name for a show, co-host and scriptwriter Mark Bernardin divulged his role as a writer on the Skydance Marvel title. Game Informer producer Ben Hansen notes that, according to Kevin Smith, the stream's chat managed to immediately guess the subject material on Twitter. Hansen added, the two viable choices were Ant-Man and Fantastic Four. The other option was Black Panther or something that took place in Wakanda. There are only three possible choices based on what the chat guessed, what they had guessed, and it looks like most likely it's going to be between Ant-Man and Fantastic Four. Continuing, neither Bernardine or anyone else attached to the Mystery Marvel game has confirmed or denied the ongoing rumors and speculation. As such, the Ant-Man and Fantastic Four guesses, no matter how convincing, should not be taken at face value for the time being. But still very interesting that they would just went out and say, oh yeah, you guys totally guessed it. So when I heard about the project, I immediately guessed that it was going to be Fantastic Four, because I mean, that just made sense to me. Marvel is doing a Fantastic Four movie. They're getting ready to go into production once they get the casting and everything settled. So it makes sense that with the MCU seemingly trying to revive the Fantastic Four franchise, a game would be made out of it. That makes sense to me. And when I think of narrative-driven blockbuster, I think of Fantastic Four. Daredevil is, of course, a possibility, but Fantastic Four, big name, already attached to an big MCU project. Definitely can get some great narratives out of that. It would be pretty amazing. I mean, going through, the full Fantastic Four, we just saw how really good and well received a teamed centric game could be, even if it's single player, with the Guardians of the Galaxy that came out from Square Enix and Eidos Montreal. It was a huge success. So I can definitely see a Fantastic Four game doing even better. Ant-Man, very interesting. I didn't even consider Ant-Man. I've always wanted to play him in a game, and I could see how they could incorporate Ant-Man as a character into a game. It'd be very unique. Shrinking, you can have obstacles getting through different places by shrinking. You can unlock the ability to go giant man. That could be pretty neat. But overall, I would prefer a Fantastic Four game. What's going on, Bill? Good morning. Do I have high hopes for Spidey? I have high hopes for nothing in Marvel's Avengers. I have cautious optimism. What would you guys prefer, Ant-Man or Fantastic Four? Daredevil will be cool as well, but my number one choice is Fantastic Four. Getting Guardians this weekend, nice. What's good, Divine Shine? Glad they're making that so Xbox can't get the DLC? You want that F4? Yeah. X-Men. Well, X-Men's not an option. It's Fantastic Four, Ant-Man, maybe Daredevil, but you might get an X-Men game from Insomniac because they're doing Wolverine, and if they're doing Wolverine, I mean, you're right there. You love Ant-Man, that's your boy. You just want Fantastic Four game. It's been too long. Yeah, it's been a while since we had a Fantastic Four game on console, but I don't think we've ever had an Ant-Man game. It would have been interesting if Ant-Man was a character in Marvel's Avengers, but doesn't like that's going to happen anytime soon, even though Scott Lang was in the game files. I don't think there's a huge demand right now, or Definitely not in their development pipeline at the moment, but could be good. Is Guardians a good game? Oh yeah, it's been what, like 3 weeks since it came out. I forgot. Yeah, the hype train is very much real. If you've seen my coverage of it, I basically streamed the entire Guardians of the Galaxy game series. Everyone loves it. Check the review sites. Everyone is raving about the game. It was a lot of fun. I still have to go through and do my new game plus. Am I playing? This is a new stream. This is not a game stream. So next we're going to go over the dev stream recap for Marvel's Avengers. Yesterday, for those that missed it, yesterday's stream, it was about an hour, and they had Alex on. It was mostly about gear, and Alex isn't the best as he'll admit, he's not the best at putting his thoughts into words. I feel like they definitely should have put together a script beforehand so that they could, simplify exactly what it is they were trying to say into actual bullet points, and instead of spending so much time rambling when they could have pretty much summed up everything in a couple sentences. Aqua, bright and early, just woke up. Nice. All right, so we got a little bit of recap of what happened gear wise. So most of us will know that we'll now be able to infuse gear over level 100 to upgrade it. But here's some more details from the stream. Gear will obviously no longer have the 1 through 10 upgrade system. So no more starting with a gear piece that's 130 and holding R2 to put it up plus 10, or just put it up a couple just to unlock perks. All the perks will be unlocked as soon as you get a piece of gear. So whenever you're out in the wild, whenever you get a new piece of gear, you no longer have to spend resources in order to have access to those perks. All the perks will be available as soon as you cop it. All your current gear will remain at the level it is now. If you have 130 gear upgraded to 140, when you get the new update, it'll be 140 gear. If you have 130 gear, it'll be 130 gear, but with all the perks unlocked. So it may be a good idea not to upgrade anything for the moment. So if you have 130 gear that you're just sitting on and you haven't, and maybe you're thinking about testing it later, but not right now on your build, hold on to it. Save some of those resources, because once the update is pushed, all that 130 gear, 120 gear, or whatever, if it's not maxed out gear, the perks are going to be unlocked automatically with the new update. So little way to save some of your resources. You didn't really miss much. Aqua just went over the rumors about the well, it could be a big deal. So there was a chat, there was a show with one of the writers on the new Amy Hennig Marvel game that's coming out from Skydance Media, and they were live, and they were taking feedback from Twitter and everything, and they asked them to guess what game it was, and they said that, oh yeah, you get the Twitter guessed it immediately, and the viable choices were basically between Ant-Man and Fantastic Four. So one of those, and I feel like Fantastic Four makes the most sense. Continuing, when infusing gear to upgrade it, the cost will vary depending on the quality difference. If you're upgrading an epic piece of gear with an exotic, there will be a large discount on resources. If you're upgrading an exotic with an epic, then it'll cost a lot more. You can upgrade straight from 100 to 140, for example, but you'd be paying the full cost of upgrading 40 power levels. Seems obvious, thought you mentioned it. Also worth noting, the raid in OLT will be the only place to get gear from 140 to 150. To get to power level 165, you'll need to play the elite raid. This doesn't include the plus 10 from the artifact, which gets you to 175 by the end. Also not mentioned here, is that, but I've said it before, they're changing the resources. They're getting rid of all of the resources that you have for the most part for upgrading gear, and they're simplifying it to just upgrade modules, fragments, and polychloron. Fragments and upgrade modules will be for your gear and your minor artifacts. Fragments and polychloron will be for your major artifact. What's going on, Tricks Ridiculous? Good morning. You two are all about that Fantastic Four life. Same. How you doing, my friend? Yeah, I love Ant-Man, and it would be very cool to see a Ant-Man game, but I much rather have him a character in Marvel's Avengers or something. I want a full next-gen Fantastic Four game experience. That would be awesome. What's going on, Mighty Jenkins? Going to Electro? Your money's on Fantastic Four? Yeah, that'd be awesome. He was also saying that every time we complete the OLT, we'll get Omega gear that's at our current power level, and the same for the normal / elite raid, which can be used to infuse other gear sets up to your current level, or just as a way of farming for something with the right stats. So there will be a reason to play more often instead of just once per week. So basically the weekly mission chains will give you the gear to increase your power level, but you can replay the raid OLT to grind more gear at your current level to improve other sets without increasing your power level. So to clarify that even more, and this is the part that I'm actually concerned about, in order to get to the new power level cap, to actually raise your power level beyond where it is now, you can only do that once per week. And if you're only playing, one character, if you're just focusing on one character, then you take your one character, you do the OLT mission chain, you get your gear, probably like 2 pieces of exotics that will drop at a higher power level than you're currently at, and you can use that to get higher. And then you do the normal raid, which will get you higher than that. I'm assuming that you're not going to be able to even do the elite raid the first week, from what it sounds like, depending on how much of this higher level gear you get with each run. Hopefully we'll get more details on that, but also how high of an increase are you getting? So for instance, if you play the OLT mission chain and the normal villain and the normal raid mission chain with your one character, are you going to get are you going to get 140 gear? Are you going to get 152 gear? 162 gear? Is it going to be super incremental, and you're going to have to spend weeks slowly grinding up to get to a higher enough power level to do raid? Like, how exactly is that going to work? How much gear? Because when you replay it, you're not getting higher level gear, you're just getting stuff at your current level. So that's only good if you have an old piece of gear that you want to get up to your current level. So it sounds like potentially they're going to add a lot of extra grind just to get this artificial increase in power level. We don't even know if the raid gears are even going to be worth the effort, but if you're just aiming for that max power level, it sounds potentially like it's going to take a while, like potentially weeks for each character. So I hope that's not the case, but we'll see. We don't actually know what is going to be. Is the raid going to drop gear that's 10 power levels higher than you, or is the OLT going to do the same, or is it going to drop gear that's like 1 power level higher, or 2 or 3 power level higher? Like that's my concern. If you're playing the raid, and keep in mind the raid is according to them like 90 minutes, you're doing that, and if at the end of it you get gear that's 2 power levels higher than you are, 2 or 4 power levels higher than you are now, I'm going to be kind of annoyed. Like if it's like 2 power levels higher, I'm going to be really annoyed if I spend 90 minutes on a raid to increase my power level so I can get to the elite raid eventually, and I'm getting stuff that's plus, if I'm getting like 2 pieces that are +2. And then what if the pieces that are +2 are dropping in the same slot? Like, is it going to be guaranteed one different slots? Like how's exactly going to work? So while it's good that they're paying attention to gear, I'm concerned about the execution and how that's going to work, because even though they've improved in this area, they're still essentially time gating everything. And that's been something that people have been telling them for over a year to stop time gating stuff. This is a looter. You're supposed to have some kind of in-game farm loop. You're supposed to encourage players to get on the hamster wheel at the end and just grind however much they want. And they keep blocking us from doing that. And it doesn't give people a reason to stay on the game. So they've taken a step potentially in the right direction, in that you can play the OLT and the raid multiple times and get gear that you can use as useful gear that you can use at the very least as resource fodder if you want to bring up an older piece of gear. But if you don't have an older piece of gear that you want to level up, then there's really no point in replaying the OLT at all, because that Omega gear is trash anyway, unless the changes they make are substantially different. And if the raid gear is trash, then what are we doing here? So I'm a little concerned. So I am a little concerned. I'm obviously willing to take a wait and see approach, but I am concerned potentially about the rate. And the other bit from that dev stream that was interesting, I'm convinced that Andy didn't do this intentionally, because they're being very weird with Spider-Man. I don't know why they're going out of their way to hide Spider-Man and what he looks like. But like at first I thought, like, they explained why he didn't come out sooner. They were just trying to time it correctly, which is why I thought he was going to come out closer to No Way Home. But it's really weird that it's been over a year and Spider-Man is the only character that has not gotten a proper marketing push. No pictures, no trailer, no gameplay, absolutely nothing. It's really weird. And it has me worried that the reason they're waiting they waited so long is because they're not confident in what they're about to show. Like potentially Spider-Man's coming out on November 30th, and we're not even going to see his skins until next week, which is what, the 12th? It's weird. So Andy, when they were talking about the resources, Andy put this up on the screen. This is what it's going to look like when you boot up the game and look at your character menu. You see resource economy changes. This message will appear, but if you look behind you, you can see that the character they pulled up when they were demonstrating this was, of course, Spider-Man. Now, this caused, Xbox players to go crazy because, as you can see, the dev that was using this on Xbox, but they confirmed Spider-Man is only going to be on PlayStation. This is just a dev build. So that made Xbox players mad all over again, but it is what it is. You've known this for a year. Just deal with it. Be mad at Sony. Sony doesn't care. They just want they want to hold on to their Spider-Man. Sucks, but that's how it is. Now, you can see he got the Spider-Man nameplate, and you can see a little bit of the costume. It looks kind of like the Homecoming outfit, but can't be too sure. But again, they didn't even acknowledge this. They didn't acknowledge it at all. They put this on the screen. People were like, "Oh, Spider-Man, Spider-Man." They didn't acknowledge it whatsoever. They said nothing about it. They didn't take the opportunity to give us a tease. They just didn't speak about Spider-Man basically until the end of the stream. And that was just to announce that next week they're gonna have a stream where they talk about the Claw Raid in more detail, specifically around the gear and the perks, and they're going to be showing off some Spider-Man skins finally. But for now, this is the closest we have. We have the very blurry Spider-Man image of his back, web swinging towards Claw in the roadmap picture, and we have this Spider-Man at the character menu behind a message about resource changes. That's the closest to Spider-Man we got. It's very weird, and I am officially concerned. What to do, Casual Avenger? I'm particularly concerned about his event. You know, it's supposed to be a DLC. It's supposed to be story. They said the story is going to focus around him and Kamala and Black Widow trying to stop AIM. And people are now, I'm not like other people that were immediately mad that AIM is involved in the story. It obviously makes perfect sense that AIM is still involved in the story. They haven't been completely defeated yet. That's not surprising. Black Panther story involved AIM, but it still brought in new villains, new enemy factions. This one, however, sounds like, based on how they're describing it, it's going to be mostly AIM. Like Black Panther, they made a big deal about how it's an expansion, brand new biome, new enemy, new villains, new enemy type, new factions, all that good stuff. None of that has been mentioned with regard to Spider-Man. It's a story that you unlock by going into the Avengers initiative. That's how they phrased it. He's investigating AIM. Along the way, he meets up with Black Widow and Kamala. So right off the bat, we know there's no new biome like we got with the last two DLCs, Hawkeye and Black Panther. There doesn't sound like there's going to be new enemy types. It's just going to be AIM once again. So does that mean there's not even going to be a special villain, like no Spider-Man villain? Because that's what will really be disappointing. If it's been over a year, and they couldn't even show us gameplay or pictures, and we finally get Spider-Man, and it's literally just a couple mission chains, like 3 or 4 missions in the Avengers initiatives in the exact same levels we've been playing for over a year, with strictly AIM enemies, no Spider-Man villains, then I'm gonna wonder, what the hell they've been doing all this time. Like what took so long? Like from all the leaks I've been hearing, Miller said they were using a ton of resources put towards Spider-Man. That's why I was expecting something big out of the DLC. If it's literally just a basic iconic mission chain with a few cutscenes and purely AIM enemies, not even new locations, then that's going to be a huge disappointment, and it's going to make me really question, what's happening over there. Because Sony paid a lot of money to get this Spider-Man exclusive, and if all we have to show for it is the same hallways with AIM in it, like even the Spider-Man, the character, plays really well like the other heroes, like it took you a year for this. Like, why couldn't he have come out a lot? Why couldn't he come out earlier in the year? Like, what's going on? Yeah, PlayStation spent a lot of money, and it sounds like they're they're involved deeply in the approval process as well. So they got a lot of funding to get this Spider-Man thing done. So I am a little concerned with what I've heard the event is going to be. I hope it's something good, but I don't know, the way they've been marketing it, I am very concerned. Spider-Man is based in Manhattan, and that's already in the game. Sure, but also they could change up parts of the level. Like they may even with the Kate Bishop DLC, they didn't give us a new biome, but they changed within the missions in that region, they changed up the area where the missions were. They even changed up the types of missions slightly. And at the end of it, we got an actual villain. I understand why there's no biome. That's, you know, that's not even the point I was making. The point I was making is that there's no new biome, but which is, you know, pretty much irrelevant to actually the entire point I was making. The lack of enemy types, the lack of a build up, like what is happening. It literally just sounds potentially like it's going to be an iconic mission chain, just like the other heroes got. Like at the very least, Kate Bishop introduced a new villain, the Super Adaptoid. They got to do something for Spider-Man. That's weird. It'd be weird if he doesn't have any new villain. So that likes to start. How's it starting a controversy? It literally says he's investigating AIM. He's got mission chains. There's no information about anything. Like with Black Panther, we knew that there was going to be new areas, even the chests were different. No new enemy types. There's been nothing. There's nothing, and it's been over a year, and it's been over a year of this. How is that inventing a controversy? Am I inventing? You think it's normal that Spider-Man is the only DLC character who's had zero information released about him? What do you mean? What's up, Electra? This is an event that would make you it would make you happy if the DLC was trash. That's weird. Yeah, it's an Avengers game. It wasn't a Black Panther game, but they put a lot of effort into that Black Panther DLC. It's not a Hawkeye game, but they put a lot of effort into that Hawkeye DLC. Like it's weird. I'm just pointing out how weird it is that they're being so secretive. We don't need all this info. We mean all this info. We don't have any info. We have the bare minimum of info. It took them over a year just to tell us that Spider-Man is investigating AIM and he's going to meet Black Widow and Kamala Khan along the way. That took over a year. Spider-Man was announced in a blog last summer of 2020. It's currently November 6th, 2021. We didn't learn that he is investigating AIM with Kamala and Black Widow until a few days ago. This is the clearest picture of him that we have. That's objectively weird, especially when you look at how they've marketed the other DLCs. It's very strange. What's up, Pito? How you feeling? Channel is lit, bro. Thank you, Prophetic. They most likely can't. They can't market. Well, you guys didn't see this because you weren't in the Discord, but we got a long explanation for why Spider-Man wasn't released, and it was mainly, and they said it was mainly about trying to line up the timing to give him the greatest possible impact. They said they could have released him earlier, but they didn't want to do it too close to Black Panther. But what does that have to do with marketing? Like, it doesn't make sense that PlayStation, if that's what you're implying, would say, oh yeah, this Spider-Man project that we gave you a bunch of money to do, we don't want you to market it at all. like that makes sense to you? like what's happening? It literally makes no sense. Oh yeah, we have this huge character drop in, but we're not going to market it properly in any way, shape, or form. Like, we're not going to get you hyped with the trailer. We're not going to show you concept art. We're not going to do anything until the third week. Until officially the second week before he comes out. Like, what? That's weird. It feels like they have something to hide. Black Panther. You don't think Black Panther was important? You know how much they hype Black Panther? We got a roadmap, and they were like, "Oh, Black Panther's on this roadmap. By the way, look at this trailer. Look at this teaser trailer. What was it like? Like less than a minute, just a little bit. Black Panther shows up. We see the jungle. We see Black Panther. He does his pose. Fade to black. Show the title card. Everybody goes crazy. Hype achieved. Nothing for Spider-Man. Nothing. It's weird. Why would it make sense to not market him just because he's an exclusive? They started marketing him. What do you mean? PlayStation did a whole blog last summer breaking down, not just announcing Spider-Man was coming, but going over his history, telling us a little bit of what to expect from the story. And then we got zero for over a year. Doesn't make any sense. Do they not want people to come for the event? Like, it's weird. Is it the sky swinging? Are they nervous about the traversal? Is that what it is? Is that what's gonna happen? Are they worried that when people see the skins or something, they're gonna be mad? Or if they see the gameplay, they're gonna be like, what's going on with the swinging? What why is he swinging like that? That's weird. That's all. It could be nothing. Maybe he's great. Maybe this is just part of their plan. They were just like, you know what? The best marketing plan for Spider-Man is that we're not going to say anything. We're just going to keep everything a secret. We're not going to show what he looks like. We're not going to show a trailer. We're not going to put together a gameplay. Maybe they were just like, you know what? We're going to wait until the second week of November when he's coming out in the fourth week of November. And we're going to squeeze in some pictures of Spider-Man skins that we want people to pay for in the marketplace. And then talk about the Claw Raid and then we're gonna drop Spider-Man, and that's gonna be that. And it's actually further away than the movie too. The movie there. That's why I thought Spider-Man was coming out in December. The movie comes out at like the end of December, like near the end of December. They're dropping Spider-Man on the 30th. That's why I was surprised that he was coming out so soon. I was expecting, you know, December 10th or something like that, but they're doing November 30th. So that's way before the movie. They did that with BP too. No, they didn't. That's what I'm saying. It's not about the gameplay. Like with BP's, it's not even remotely similar. If you remember the BP timeline, we got a short teaser when they dropped the roadmap. We got during E3 a full cinematic gameplay. We got a full cinematic trailer, and then when we got closer, as we started getting closer to release, we got concept art streams. We got a stream with the voice actors, the story writers. We had stuff going on social media. Then we got the look at the gameplay and rundown of, you know, the moves and all that. Like they did a big Black Panther rollout. Spider-Man was like a year ago, last summer, they said, hey, Spider-Man's coming out. Only PlayStation gets him by. And then a year later, hey, look at this blurry photo of a Spider-Man. He's coming later this year. Then it's, hey, look, no photos of Spider-Man, but November 30th, look out for it. Like it is concerning. That's what I'm saying. Maybe they're worried that they're going to piss off Xbox players even more. That's the only thing I think of. Either they just didn't have the time, and either they're so understaffed that they just didn't have the ability to get all this stuff together and produce a gameplay trailer for Spider-Man, or they're worried about creating more backlash because he's going to be a PlayStation exclusive. So they're kind of trying to walk a line between building hype for the event and not drawing too much attention to it, so that Xbox players and PC players don't get mad all over again. That's the only thing I think of. The whole month of November is the hype period, but that's the thing. There is no hype period. There's no hype. What do you mean? There's no hype at all. They're not hyping like they usually do. That's what I'm saying. They usually hype the month before the release, and they're not hyping much at all compared to like the stream. The dev stream was 99% about gear. The blog just announced when he's coming out and gave us a little blurb about the story that honestly did not sound very promising. This is the opposite of hype building. That's all I'm saying. It's weird. Ant-Man, yes sir. So the Skydance Media Marvel game, there was a show with one of the writers that's going to be on the project, and apparently the fans were able to guess what character the game was going to be based around, and the two most likely choices based on what the fans guessed, really the only two viable ones that they guessed, were Ant-Man and Fantastic Four. So based on that, it looks like the new Marvel game is going to be Fantastic Four or Ant-Man. I'm leaning to Fantastic Four. Spider-Man doesn't factor into the overall story. I mean that's clearly not true. He is investigating AIM. He beats up with members of the team. He's presumably there's apparently going to be a choice where he's going to, just like with Black Panther, there's going to be an option of will he choose this to stay with the Avengers or to stay on his own. Yeah, that is by definition factor into the overall story. If I had to pick a character to be playable in the future, who would it be? Doctor Strange. Yeah, we were just talking about the story of Spider-Man. I was just talking about the story. We don't know if he's going to have a villain. Ultra Gaming. That's what we're speculating on. All the other DLC characters got a villain, but we know that Spider-Man. We know from what they described so far, the story is not. He's not going to get. They're not bringing in a new enemy faction or anything like that. But at the very least, I hope he gets a villain, even though he's mostly going to be fighting AIM. I hope there's a Spider-Man villain involved somehow. What if he just? I mean, he has to swing. The question is he going to swing like Black Widow, or are they going to just say, you know, screw it, we'll just have him swing from the sky? You love the Fantastic Four. Hope they get the team right. I'm sure they will. I mean, I hope so. After how awesome Guardians of the Galaxy was, they definitely, if they're going to do a single player Fantastic Four game, they definitely got to step it up. How would crossplay work? There is no crossplay. There will be no crossplay. So don't have to worry about it working. What about Vision? Would love to see him as well. They should put Doc Ock or Lizard. Based on what they described about the story, Doc Ock makes a lot of sense. Or Green Goblin. Like, it's about the story. His story is centered around investigating AIM because they're trying to come up with a new super robot or whatever, and they could easily, you know, work in one of the smart Spider-Man villains. You know, they're teaming up with AIM to help them develop this technology, and Spider-Man and the Avengers have to team up in order to stop them. That would be fine. You're betting on Smythe? Definitely a possibility. Anything's possible, really. Except Rhino. God, I hope it's not Rhino. They gave Kate crazy tech for better traversal. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Traversal is very important here. Spider Slayers are going to show up. Doesn't sound like it. You throwing Kingpin out there? I mean, yeah, that's a classic choice. Yeah, Doc Ock would definitely make the most sense. Well, a couple of villains would make sense if the main story is about the Synthoid. They're working on a new Synthoid project, so it'd have to be a Spider-Man villain involved that could factor into that research. Story. Oh God, please please don't let the story be like the Ruskaya Protocol. There are no actual. Imagine if there's no actual cutscenes, and it's literally just Kamala and Black Widow communicating with Peter via the comms. Oh no, that'd be so bad. Will they have a war table? No. Wonder if he's going to have juggling air combat. I mean, all the characters in the game have air juggle, so I would assume so. Doc Ock makes sense because I could Doc Ock and Green Goblin would make sense because they would fit in that storyline, and I could also see them, especially since the Avengers are involved, or at least Black Widow and Kamala are involved. It would make sense for it to have Doc Ock and or Green Goblin. I don't think you would need Thor for, Thor or Hulk for that. but if Kamala and Black Widow is his backup, then yeah, that makes sense. Remember when Yelena and James were characters? Yeah, characters as in like they appear in the files. You hear Yelena's voice. Oh no, don't do that, Tricks. Don't do that, Tricks. Don't put didn't they confirm there were gonna be cutscenes? don't put that out there. It'd be hilarious too if when the Spider-Man event drops at the same time they run the Red Room takeover. Oh my goodness. You have a theory that the devs are squeezing Sony and everyone for their money. Square Enix players have been shoving money. I don't know if they're squeezing Sony for money, but obviously games as a service are designed specifically to squeeze money from the players. So yeah, that is a thing. Think about it, could be Kingpin for funding. Yep. Kurt Connors, Doc Ock, Norman Osborn. Yeah, that makes more sense. You think he'll swing like Widow, but with a few features like web pull forward. Fantastic Four game. Yep. Latest rumor is that the new Marvel game is going to be either Fantastic Four or Ant-Man. One of the writers for the project was doing a podcast, and apparently the chat was able to guess what the game was, and the two viable choices based on their guesses were Ant-Man and Fantastic Four. Am I playing the stream? No. Can't wait to do a ranged Spider-Man build. I mean, it might be viable. You never, a pure web slinging build. I mean, I hope it goes better than your Black Panther builds. Without the ranged Black Panther was not it. It was so boring. When the update comes, I'm going to do Spider-Man first. You want Mysterio? The whole Sinister Six, yeah, literally zero chance. They said his traversal is unique, but is it though? I mean, they also said the harm room was endgame, so let's actually just wait and see what his traversal looks like. Insomniac is making 2 Marvel games. Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine. The game we were talking about in the stream was the one from Skydance Media. You optimistic for the update? I'm not excited. I'm not optimistic. I'm definitely intrigued. I'm more intrigued just to see what all this work they put into Spider-Man amounts to. I want the raid to be really good, but I am concerned. I can already see, I'm looking down the road thinking about what can possibly go wrong. And I'm looking at earnable cosmetics, which are literally loot boxes. I'm looking at a 90-minute raid with no join in progress in a game with a history of network connection problems. and we don't know how good the perks are going to be, and potentially you can, since it's once again time gated, you're not going to be able to level up your hero to the max for potentially weeks or a month or something. I'm seeing a lot of potential red flags. I wanted to go very well, but I can also see the potential for disaster. I wanted to do well, but I'm very much prepared for it to not. Think they're going to have a huge content drop after? I mean, yeah, for sure. At the very least, we're supposed to get a new roadmap. But I mean, Xbox and PC players already going to have a content drought after 30th. So they're not even getting Spider-Man. So they're not even going to have that to distract them at all. They're just going to really just have the raid. So the raid is going to have to really do it. What he said, joining progress is something that they're working on, but you can take that as a soon, as in don't look out for joining progress until sometime next year. So I'm not even worried about joining progress, but we'll see. Hope next week we should get a lot more clarity about how good the raid's going to be. It will actually see what Spider-Man looks like and finally know what the big deal is. The stream is going to be the usual time, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. I'll be doing live coverage as usual. Looking forward to it. Thank you guys once again for coming through. I try to keep these streams relatively short so people that missed the information at the beginning can just go through pretty quickly and catch up to what they missed. I'm probably streaming Tuesday, Marvel's Avengers, usual. If you're a member, if you've already joined the channel as a member, hang out in a few hours. We're going to be doing the game session. It's usually just me and Ty Versal, but you're definitely all free to come in and just hang out if you're a member. Other than that, have a great weekend. I have a review of Eternals coming on Wednesday with Doom Killer HD. Should be fun. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm Scott the Gamer, signing out.